Yo, welcome to DeathHammer Podcast Episode 3 with me, Johnny, and my boy Jacob. Today's episode, we've got Will from Aberdeen Hardcore's Bitterwood.
Hello.
You know, because we've all played shows together.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, is there an actual show that we've all played at? I think there. Jacob, did you play Neckfest? You did, didn't you?
I played with the Devil Within.
Yeah.
The meme within.
Well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So that'd be that's a show that we've all played
Totally.
at. So yeah, I guess that's the kind of tying bind for this one. But actually, did see when we did the In This Life one at Forest? Did you just play Forest Fest one time within this life?
I think we played Forest Fest.
There's honestly about 150 million Forest Fests every day.
I was gonna say yeah, because that was the first time I'd met you, Will. Was at Forest Fest, and we both you had the original Bitterwood logo with the tree
Fucking right.
and all that kind of
Spoken
stuff.
word
The
shit,
OG.
fucking
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of was Bitterwood your first band, or have you been in other bands?
Nah,
or?
Bitterwood was like my first band, man. It's kind of like started off with like me even being a vocalist and just Ken and Lewis. So Lewis used to be in like another band. I don't even think that had a name actually. It was like a fucking My Chemical Romance cover band, pretty much. Choppy the
I can
big
see
goth.
him doing that. Yeah.
And like me and Choppy were like fucking like best of pals at the time, and our common like interest was fucking Yu-Gi-Oh. We used to play Yu-Gi-Oh together all the time.
Yeah.
And he like one time was randomly just like, "Oh, Will, go start a fucking band with me," and I was like, "Ah, I think so, man." And we were like mad into La Dispute at that time, so it was into like concept albums and all that sort of shit. And then like like I met like Dean, was like out in town or something like that. And so it was me, Dean, and like Lewis, and like Lewis was like, "Well, like, I just do it, it'll be a laugh." So we did it, and then Glenn was like pals with Lewis from like school, and he was the guitarist of their like other band, and then he wanted to join Bitterwood, but it wasn't even like Bitterwood at the time. It was just like unknown, and then he did, and then they like wanted to focus on the spoken word stuff. They were like liking what we were doing and all that sort of stuff, so they quit the other band and then focused on Bitterwood, and that's how we kind of came about.
Yeah. So just for clarity, that's Glenn is Glenn's the drummer.
Yep.
Chapla or Lewis, he's the bassist.
And Dean Cruden was our old guitarist.
Ah, right. So how did Liam end up getting into the?
Well,
into
that's
the
like
fold?
when we kind of changed. So originally, like I said, we were spoken word, very like touche vibes, and then I started like listening to a lot of hardcore. Like I really got into like hardcore, and then I was like pushing myself as a vocalist because I'd never done vocals before, until we did Bitterwood, and I wanted to like move the band to be like a hardcore band rather than a spoken word band. Originally, it was going to be like post hardcore. That was like our like thing, but we eventually just got like more and more into hardcore. And Dean was never into hardcore. He just didn't like the vibe. And so we kind of like grew apart almost. I was like no bad feelings or anything like that. Dean's actually an amazing guy. We still speak to him and all that. He's got like a YouTube channel and he does like game covers and he's actually like sick at it. They're fucking ace. But then we met Liam at like a gig a while ago, and Lewis played, filled in for a gig for Purgatory, funnily enough, and Liam was also covering, so it was like, Lewis was doing bass and Liam was doing guitar, and that's how they met. And then we asked him to join the band, and he fit perfectly. He got the vibes we were going for, and then that's when we totally did a 180 from the spoken word stuff and like left it really.
Yeah, because I remember when I first saw you at Forest Fest, it was it was very kind of like compared to how you guys are now, I wish I'd had some footage from that show, so you could kind of see it.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, I've filmed that set. I kind of sent it over to you last week.
Yeah.
But that'll be kind of coming out. We'll probably bring it out alongside this, just because we'll be talking about it a lot. But seeing you guys going from that kind of touche amore style with the more spoken word kind of post-hardcore, I like to call it sad boy music.
It is it's like sad boy shit, like it is.
But you still have elements of that within your tunes nowadays.
We do, but it's in a different tone. So like before we would like preach it as spoken word, but the EP is still a concept, so it's still a concept EP. So the lyrics are like still the same. They've just been changed up a little bit to suit like hardcore style, if that makes sense. We still keep the whole like dramatic tone. Like it might may like appear like when we play we're like very like in your face sort of thing, but the lyrics are still a story. So we still keep that element. We just preach it in a different light almost. It's actually funny to see like the different reactions from people from like when you were playing like spoken word. You can honestly say anything in like a sad tone and everyone would be like, that's deep, man, holy shit, that made me cry. And then you could honestly, it's fucking crazy, man. So you would just pretend to speak sad shit and everyone would be like, fucking hell, that's honestly heartbreaking. And then you do the exact same lyric in like a hardcore tone and they're like, that's fat as fuck, man, jeez, man. You know what I mean? Like honestly, nobody gives a fuck what you say. It's just how you preach it. So yeah,
exactly, man, exactly. And that's honestly the best way the best way to kind of like, if you want to get your music out there, and have people enjoy it, it's just kind of having that confidence to just be like, right, so we're doing spoken word, so we're going to do spoken word and we're going to fucking fully back it 100%. But then, like you say, if you're just changing up to something different, you can keep pretty much everything the same, but just changing that, I want to go hardcore 100%, and fucking, and people appreciate that, you do kind of get some people that kind of...
It's interesting seeing like just the people's like how they take the music differently, and it shows that like there's not really like an in-between stage for certain like genres like that, where people like are now like 100% on like the new hardcore stuff and they like probably do prefer like the old style that we did, but it is still the same elements, it's still like the same concept. So if you're looking for that like deep meaningful lyrics, they're still there. You just don't want to hear it because I'm not crying into a mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was going to say, was like, you do get bands that kind of, they want to hit all these different genres.
Yeah.
And then...
I could name a lot of pussy bands like that, man, honestly.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
But I like to see it when you just see a band that's like, you see what their goal is, or you see kind of what they're trying to do, and you see them, they don't have to be doing it well, but you can see that they're trying to do it well and they're trying to focus on that kind of thing. Whereas, like you say, there's loads of bands that are just trying to do everything and just trying to cater to everyone else. And I'm not going to lie, like when you're in a hardcore band, people are going to hate your music. People don't like... A lot of people don't like hearing somebody scream at you.
No.
It's a very, acquired taste.
It is. It really is. You can see that in the community. That's a very, like, like Aberdeen's like seems very like mixed gigs, as in, it's not one particular genre that plays that night. It's like 4 different genres that play really. And you can see the room change from band to band. Do you know what I mean? Different people go up front for different bands and people go back for different bands and all that sort of stuff. And it is just because it's everyone's cup of tea, and like appreciate that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, if you're into the music, then you're into the music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like, it's hard. It's like weird for me to say that I'm into like bands that are like doing everything, because I suppose that we were trying to do everything when we was doing hardcore and spoken word. But like we've lost that now. We do just focus on a hardcore, even though we keep the lyrics the same. But then I like the whole like sad boy thing no more. But there's a lot of bands out there that try and like preach that whole sad boy stuff, and it's actually funny when you like read into their lyrics, and it is honestly just forgettable pish. Do you know what I mean? It's honestly like, oh man, that bitch broke my heart, what the fuck? And then cunts would be like, deep. It is. It's pathetic. Like,
it just depends on what kind of scene you're in. If you're in a scene with a bunch of phonies that are just trying to like, trying to be something without backing up. Like I always see like this thing when I'm not straight edge. I'd never claim to be straight edge, but if people want to do that kind of thing, I respect that. Like if you want to be in a hardcore band that's straight edge and doing it all, fair enough. But when you get those people that are like, oh yeah, I'm in like X hardcore band X, and we're all doing this kind of stuff, and then like behind the scenes, they're like smoking doobs and drinking pints. And all that kind of shit.
I get exactly what you're saying.
I'm like, as if you're gonna go down that route and you're going to claim these kind of things, like I say, you don't gain anything from it unless you're doing it. Like straight edge people, if you're claiming that you're a straight edge band, you're only going to get straight edge followers or something like that if you're actually doing that kind of vibe. If you're just doing it for the sake of being like, oh, I want to get straight edge fans, so I'm just going to be like, yeah, we're a straight edge band.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit. Like you say, with the phony lyrics and all that kind of stuff in spoken word, it's like you can see through it. It's very transparent. But
the whole straight edge thing, that's quite a mad topic, to be honest with you, man. As in like like look at like Half Heart sort of stuff. They were like massive straight edge band, and they are very like preacher towards like, rather than having it be like its own thing where like people are like, yeah, I'm straight edge. They were doing it for like their health reasons, to promote like good vibes and all that shit. Even look at like like old school hardcore. It was like good vibes, good lifestyles, and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't like supposed to be an empowerment of, oh, I'm straight edge, blah blah blah. It was good times, good vibes, good lifestyles. I appreciate that. That's why I like Half Heart's one of my favorite bands. I'm not straight edge. I can't really like put myself into like what they're saying because I'm not at the end of the day. But I think their ideals are good. I think like what they're preaching is like solid. You know what I mean? Fair enough. I can't follow it, but it makes sense what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's like anything that when people kind of have that belief and they have that kind of like, and they very strongly believe it, you respect that. You might not agree with it, but to see somebody doing something and promoting that kind of good message, you might not do it, but you can respect it. And
the thing is though, like I always like feel like Half Heart like came out, what was it, Lions and Lambs I think it was, and it was pretty much just a diss track to people that used straight edge as a tag, and like people want things to hate. Do you know what I mean? That's just it. I'm not saying that like oh, if you're straight edge you immediately fucking hate anyone else. Do you know what I mean? But like I'm not saying that at all. Like, but I just feel like people do want something to hate and want something to like pick on, sort of thing. And I feel like the tag gets used quite a lot for that reasons. Same as like I can't fucking remember what they're called now. Earth Crisis. Like back in the day, like, their movement was fucking mad. But like you feel like people rallied on that shit so much because it was like it empowered them to like move towards justice. Do you know what I mean? Oh, we're fucking saving the planet, we're fucking preaching the good life, follow us, and like people jumped on it because it was just something to hate at the end of the day.
And I mean that's the thing. I feel like music can have a movement and music can have a meaning, but it can also, it doesn't need to, like it doesn't need to
that's
have
what that's what I like, to be honest with you. I feel like everyone's nowadays trying to prove a point with like, oh, we're the deepest, we're the heaviest, we're the danciest, we're whatever. Do you know what I mean? There's not a lot of people that are out there to just be like, yo, we're here to play fucking shows and have a good time. Do you know what I mean? So I do respect, I love people that are like very upfront with the fact that like, look, we like playing music at the end of the day, so that's why we're here. You're not always trying to be the most emotional band, or we've done X, Y, and Z, we've been through this, I've dealt with that. Do you know what I mean? You just fucking play a show at the end of the day. So more respect to people that actually do just like playing shows, because it's a common interest at the end of the day. We all like playing music, we all listen to music. So
and I think
really be any fucking drama with it.
That kind of ties into a lot of the a lot of the kind of, I would say like the pop punk or the punk kind of vibes. You do see a lot of those bands that they just, when you see them on stage, they just look like they're having so much fun. And we've all listened to pop punk. You know, I'm sure we've all listened to Blink-182 shit back in the day. You know, it's all about, you know, nothing goes too deep. You know, unless you're talking about like breakups and all that kind of stuff, and even that, you know, you're not going too deep. It's all about having fun and all that kind of stuff. Jacob, you know, you've been playing in a pop punk. I don't even know how long In This Life's been going on now.
About 2 years, but that's one of the things I actually love about pop punk is like it's a bit of fun. Well, especially for we do it. There's no real like, it's not serious or anything. It's just like 45 minutes of having fun. Like I went to see Enter Shikari last year, and all for like 45, every in between song he was just speaking about the fucking planet, and we need to do this and we need to do that. I was like, I come to see the show to get away from all that shit, and I want to sit here and listen to it. Because when I went to see them back in like 10 years ago, it was all just like an hour and a half of like music, and it was just like great fun and shit. But going to see them new, it feels like a lecture. It's just like I'm not here to see that. I'm just here to see some music. But it's what I love about certainly ourselves. There's no like bullshit way. That's it. It's like I drove to see the show. I feel bad now. I should have walked.
You'd feel well bad if you drove down from like the Highlands down to Glasgow, and then they're like, "Oh, you motherfuckers that drove here," and you're just like, "Oh shit, I just wanted to see the show."
But it's actually what I love about the hardcore
scene. Pop punk though. Yeah, well, I was like gonna go back to like the pop punk thing. Like, it's quite funny that like you associate like having a good time with like pop punk, and like I know like totally understand where you are coming from, because it is like there's a lot more like good vibes about the whole like pop punk thing. But like I think it's like it shouldn't be that way. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if you're in a hardcore band, metalcore band, fucking whatever band. You know what I mean? Like you should be having fun. Like, totally. I mean, you know, you should love what you play. You should love playing shows and all that. And it shouldn't just be like, oh man, I'm gonna go see a pop punk gig. I'm going to have fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should be like, I'm gonna see a show. I'm gonna have fucking fun. But it's funny that like pop punk's got this label of like good vibes where like other genres don't. I think it's quite weird. I don't. Well, I mean, like I said, I understand it, but
one of the guys that I always see, you know, that, you know, has some of the heaviest music out there, but he just seems to be having a fucking ball all the time, is your man Connor Musket. You know, like he was playing when he didn't even have a fucking band behind him. He still just wanted to get up on stage and fucking have a ball, you know, with his iPod playing his tunes and just fucking just ripping it, man. And it was awesome. The man looks like he's having so much fun.
He does, but like that's it. Like that's what I mean. Like he enjoys playing. That's why he does play. You know, now he's got like full band. He's like loving it. Like he was doing it because he was passionate about it. Do you know what I mean? And that's where like I feel like everyone should be at that like level where they're happy to play their shows. They're happy to like release stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's not just catered to like one particular genre where like they're having fun. Do you know what I mean? Even though like you go and watch a band and they look like a bunch of grumpy bastards on stage, they're still probably having fun. They're probably still having fun with making their like faces like, oh yeah, fucking heavy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just what they particularly like to do. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, you know, and like you say, it's not just the pop punk vibe. You can go as heavy as you want and still have a fucking ball, and that's what's so awesome about the Granite City hardcore scene. I wouldn't even say it's a specifically hardcore scene. I mean, there's a bunch of like beat down there. You know, you've got like the guys in Glass Monkey. You've even got like some straight up punk
heavy
with, like,
beat down band going. Glass Monkey.
Not Glass Monkey, like fucking. You've got you've got like your punk with Bleach. Fucking, you know. There's loads.
As you says, man, like Aberdeen's a very there's not a lot of bands in it, to be honest with you. Like there is like a fair amount of bands, but there's not enough bands in every particular genre to have genre specific shows, to have a hardcore show, to have a pop punk show, to have a beatdown show. There's not enough bands. So Aberdeen's very mixed bills when it comes to playing shows. It's good and bad, like it is. You know, it brings different people to shows to experience different genres. Maybe something that they would like to see again, maybe something that they just didn't have an interest at all in. But then it's also like, I think it's healthier for a scene to have specific genre shows. Do you know what I mean? Then it's like bigger. You know, you're not always having to like No, well, like when we play Aberdeen, we'll probably play with the same bands like constantly. Do you know what I mean? And it's just because we are in like a circle, and there's not much out of the circle to play with, so it's the same like people. It's the same sort of like such and such.
I always find that when you've got bands like take for example yourselves, and then let's go back to like Glass Monkey as well. I saw, I think it was it a Forest Fest? I definitely saw a bill where both you guys were playing. I think it was maybe a Forest Fest, and it was Purgatory. That was it. It was Purgatory.
Oh yeah, Purgatory. Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, these bands are all from the same place, but they're so different. But then when you guys would like stop playing and you all kind of like knew each other as well, it was kind of good to see. Like when I met you guys from Bitterwood, and I met you, Jacob, and all that kind of stuff from In This Life, and then when we met the Glass Monkey guys, I remember playing a show in Inverness, and like In This Life weren't playing, Glass Monkey weren't playing, I don't think you guys were playing, but you all fucking showed up to Inverness. None of you stayed in Inverness, and you all showed up for the show.
Day shift,
and I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it was the day shifter show.
I remember that as well, man. No, I think we did go to the day shifter one as well, but I'm pretty sure the one you're on about is the one after Forest Fest. You were playing with Glass Monkey and Fraserburgh, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you played Inverness for your last show, and then me and Liam and Chloe actually went up to Inverness to see you again. That was really good.
But no, like the point I was making was like, if we didn't have those bills where you had a pop punk band, a hardcore band, a spoken word band, if you didn't have these weird bills with different bands that you'd be like, why have you got these guys playing with these guys, we would never have met, and we wouldn't be kind of, you wouldn't create those other bands that kind of like crossover genres. Like when Jacob joined The Devil Within, I never would have thought Jacob would have been in heavy music or anything like that after seeing him in This Life. So when I take it, that obviously happened in the same way that you saw a band at a show that was maybe not a hardcore show, but you were like, fuck, this is decent, and you make pals with people. And it's
shout out to Grader, best band on the planet. They're like their name more, but they were fucking sick, man. Like, you should go and check their stuff out. They're fucking Aberdeen's finest.
I think one of the hardest things about Aberdeen as well is all the venues as well. I think that's a topic you all know.
Oh, the venues about. Venues at a standstill just now, man.
It's really shit.
But we're struggling for like venues. You've got Captain Tom's and Music Vision is like your best two bets. You got like Tunnels as well, but they're like really hard to like put on shows for. That's it really. You've got fucking, I don't even know if Cellar's doing shows anymore. I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you.
Fuck
so Captain Tom's and Music Vision, they're not actual established venues. They're
not. They're just studios, and they're just trying to help out the community. Do you know what I mean? And they're doing a fucking top-notch job, because without them, we wouldn't have any place to practice. We wouldn't have any place to fucking put on shows. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only places that like we'll play in Aberdeen are Captain Tom's and Music Vision, and it's like it's a fucking A show every time you play it, because like both the owners of the venues are just so sound. They're so welcoming. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking, and that, like, that's like the heart of your community as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to support like the places that are putting on the shows and all that. Do you know what I mean? And like, especially now more than ever, like, where everyone's fucking taking a hit with the coronavirus, like, I really hope that fucking Music Vision and Captain Tom's are okay after this. Like, it is a real worry to the scene. Because of, well, I say scene, but whatever. Like, it's not that big, honestly. Aberdeen's quite small.
Well, I mean, it's a shame, because the Tunnels used to put on really good shows.
The guys that are keeping it. Yeah, they did. And then, actually, I've heard like multiple stories of like why fucking Tunnels is like stopped putting on shows. So I'm not even going to put my fucking input in it, because I've just been told a lot of shite.
A lot of different shite.
I have no idea why they stopped putting on shows, to be honest with you. I wasn't really mad into like the tunnel scene. It's actually funny, because like, even though like Aberdeen is like small for like scene wise, there's like two little scenes that go like hand in hand. There's like, I would say that our scene, but there's like our type of bands that will play, and like our bands that will play with like in our circle, and then there's like a lot of other bands out there like you wouldn't expect. Like there is like a fair amount of bands in Aberdeen, but they have their own particular audience. And like when we first originally started being spoken word, we were in that like subcategory of like only playing Music Vision and all that.
Yeah.
And like there was shows getting played at tunnels all the time, but it wasn't. We weren't in that scene at the time. Like 2325 and like Purgatory and all that, they were playing like tunnels all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, out of the Aberdeen bands that I know that are you know slightly bigger, you know, like you've got like you know like Dude Trips is probably like the main one.
Yeah, Dude Trips.
That,
yeah.
You know, like not to say anything against the kind of heavier scene, but I would say Aberdeen has a lot more kind of their bigger bands tend to be a more kind of that way aligned as opposed.
Yeah,
to
we've got like Cold Years as well. They're from Aberdeen.
Terra Nova,
really
are
well.
they from Aberdeen?
They're from Aberdeen, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Terra Nova are ace as well. Trying to think as well, but like
Cherry Bleach.
I like.
That's
Yeah, Cherry Bleach.
Stuff.
There is quite a lot of bands, but there's at the same time there's not enough to like justify a massive scene. Not only that, you'll find that Aberdeen's very like. There's a lot of people that want to play with certain people. There's a lot of like weird drama beef and all that shit.
There's always that kind of drama going on, and like we said earlier, you know, I like playing those shows that are maybe kind of not specific to a genre, especially when I don't know the other bands. And I think that kind of holds some bands back a little bit. Those ones that are like, maybe we shouldn't do that show. Like, I get it if like you're playing the same venue over and over again and you're like, I don't want to do that, you know, they'll just see us next week. But if you're like getting offered shows in your hometown and they're like, oh, this is a pop punk show and you're a hardcore band, and then they're like, oh, we're just going to hold out for a hardcore show, you might never get a hardcore show, because if you're the only fucking hardcore band in that place, you know, like, what other hardcore band's going to want to visit them, you know?
I know, yeah. No, you're right about it. Like, it's a different like subject, I suppose, about like killing your hometown by overplaying it. You know what I mean? It's very easy to do it, and it's very weird to get like. It's very easy to get a false sense of fucking bigness by playing your hometown 100 times, and like, you know, like it doesn't matter if you can get like 100 people in Aberdeen. If you can't pull fucking 4 people in Glasgow, then you're not a big band at the end of the day. But they'll still associate themselves as a big band because they can pull in their hometown. You know, like if you can't pull in your hometown, then fucking great, you were bullied at school or some shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking hell.
But I mean, what I quite like to see is when you get kind of like when we had Day Shifter up, and we did the show in Inverness, and obviously we managed to like fill it out on the Sunday. It was so good because then Day Shifter were kind of like, right, so we know Inverness can pull a fucking crowd. We know you can pull a crowd up here. You know, we think your tunes are decent. We'll put you on a show now. You know, and all that kind of stuff. And it's that kind of things. When bands from outside of your city play a show with you, and they see that you're the local band and you're able to, like you say, if you can pull a decent crowd at your own hometown, and you can still keep them around for the supporting act or the out of town act, they kind of see that as like a sign of respect almost, and they're kind of like, got to return the favor.
But then you also open yourself up to being vulnerable. Like, if you've got to keep your head about you. Like, obviously, like, we know that like Below the Net can pull in Inverness, right? So say that I'm like, oh, guys, we're playing a show in Inverness, can you fucking play it? We can ask you every time that we play because we know that you'll pull a crowd. But it doesn't mean necessarily that I'll give you a show in Aberdeen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of bands will take advantage of you for doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they will be like, well, they guys can pull in their hometown, but they're not going to pull in our hometown, so we'll just fucking ask them every time we're up in Inverness to play. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I didn't like as well. Do you know what I mean? I think there's got to be like a certain line of like respect. Gig swaps are the best. Gig swaps are like really like a healthy thing, I think. Like as you're going on about like the respect, that's like a gig swap is respect. You know, you put us on in your hometown, we'll put you on in our hometown. Then, you know, hopefully you're pooling in both places and both shows are going to be good. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to get like carried away, like playing your hometown, and that's why like I think like when you are playing, you've got to like think about the gigs that you want to play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally get that, and I totally that is a big point that you do see sometimes when you see bands, and I wouldn't really say it's necessarily bands. Sometimes I say, when bands kind of get that management that's kind of like some some guy in the background.
Management level.
Yeah, that's just
Barry,
kind of like,
fucking down the roads managing your band, and all of a sudden you're fucking the big cheese. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you're kind of like, you're speaking to this band that's like put on a show, and they're loving you, and they're you're chatting with the band, and it's proper good vibes and everything. But then you're like, oh right, so did you maybe we can get like a gig down in your hotel? And they're like, oh well, we'll speak to the manager, and it's always like. And that's what sometimes I hate about, management and stuff.
Sometimes
like
you gotta watch though, because like people can't be fucking snaky as well. Like them saying, "Oh, speak to our manager" is definitely just a way of being like, I don't want to say no, so I'm gonna get fucking Barry over here to be the bad guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nah, it's honestly like fucking bands are like the queerest thing going. Do you know what I mean? You do meet some genuinely nice people, but there are some fucking people that do think they're bigger than what they are. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, as we're going back, we're all doing it for fun. Do you know what I mean? It is like fun playing out your like hometown. It is like fun playing all over. It's nice to like meet bands that will like respect you. Like it's hard to say as well, because like you're not asking a band to like fair enough if you play a hometown with them and you fucking sell out the venue, it doesn't mean that they initially have to like you. Do you know what I mean? Like they might just not like you. That's like fair enough. Like everyone's like valid to their point.
Yeah.
But there has got to be like a certain line where there's like respect, and that's why I just think gig swaps are like a bit more like safe, if you're being honest. Do you know what I mean? Like bands that I like and I want to play with, I would prefer to do gig swaps just because like it's better for both bands. Do you know what I mean? And it makes sure that like say if I wanted to like fucking play a show with some like say Below the Neck, right? Say I wanted to play Inverness. Do you know what I mean? It is quite cheeky for me just to be like, oh, are you cool to play Inverness? Even though I like you and I want to see you, and it's the easiest place to see you is Inverness because it's obviously your hometown. We get a gig outside and we get to see you guys play as well. It's still not fair for you guys to always be the bands that having to play Inverness constantly for anyone that wants to come up to fucking Inverness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how like you'll kill like your scene if you do that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just overplaying it for bands that like didn't really like matter. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking bands that think they're bigger than what they are.
So I mean, you went on tour just before this all. Well, I'd say just before, but it was a wee bit beforehand. Was it October? That it was.
It wasn't a tour. It was just a weekender. It was supposed to be a tour, but a lot of things fell through for that.
Yeah. But that was the first time playing down south, wasn't it? Or.
We've played Spicy Fest.
Love that name.
That was fucking ace. That was ace. Fucking Jack Baker put that on. You got some like actually mad fucking bands on, like crazy. And that was the first time, and then the second time was God Complex. And that was fucking ace as well. But like fucking England scene. Well, I say England scene. It's only Sheffield. We've played twice.
Yeah.
But we met like a lot of bands when we were down there, and like they're fucking so nice, man. Like they've got the like right attitude. They support each other. Like there is like a general like everyone's in it for everyone. Do you know what I mean? They have a lot more respect, and I honestly think it's probably because the mass amounts of bands down there. There's a lot more bands down there, so there's a lot more people that can support a lot of other bands. Do you know what I mean? Where like realistically, the people that are gonna like listen to your music are probably other musicians. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just the whole fucking factor of it. Do you know what I mean? Especially like in a local scene, in down south, they do have a lot more respect for the other bands. Where up here, I feel like it's a lot more cutthroat. Do you know what I mean? It's like people want to share your fucking page because they're like, people want to like your page because they're like, well, they've got a bit too much likes and they're catching up to me, so I better dislike that. Do you know what I mean? This share, that's got 18 shares. Fuck that, man. Do you know what I mean? There's way too much competition with it. And it's like, and then you speak to so much people about it. You'll be like, oh man, it's so whack that fucking everyone's like this, and they'll be like, yeah, I know it's fucking embarrassing and all that, but they're just the fucking same. Do you know what I mean? They're like, it's almost like they're trying like. If they kind of get their band up here, they'll try and push your band down to their level so they look the same. Do you know what I mean? And If we were all fucking a bit more mature about the situation, then we would be a lot better. But like I says, I just think it's probably because of the lack of bands. You know what I mean? There's like I says, down south there's way more bands and there's way more things going on down there. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean that's kind of why I've wanted to do what I've been doing with the filming aspect of things. Is if you're in a city or a town or anything like that is, I wouldn't say, I mean, cut off from like a music scene, but if you don't have a lot of bands, you know, in a genre of music that you want to hear, which I kind of saw happening up north, I was like, I need to show that, you know, there is bands up here that play this kind of music, so that, you know, it's kind of almost like advertising to other bands, like, you know, hey, we have a music scene here, come visit us, you know, like it is hard being up here trying to get bands up here, as much as you can be like, hey, do you want to do a gig swap? When you're doing a gig swap with somebody down in Sheffield, you know, and they've got to come all the way up to Aberdeen or to Inverness or something like that, as much as it is kind of like, that is, you know, it's a good bit of respect and it's a good kind of thing, everyone kind of wins out of it. It is a lot harder for, I wouldn't say it's harder actually, I'd just say it's probably a little bit, you know, a little bit more difficult to get up north than it is to kind of go south, because they've got all the bands there.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to like, I doubt I say remote places because that's like not what I'm like meaning, but like places where there's not a large scene, you'll find that there's people that hold it together, if that makes sense. Do you know, like definitely like Musket's like fucking sick for us. Like Aberdeen, he like puts in a lot of effort with Aberdeen, and he does keep things like, you know, he puts shows on the Armagh and all that. So like he's really healthy for like Aberdeen. And then you got like Ross McFarlane that puts on shows in like Forest and all that. You know, he's like fucking putting on in his own pocket and all that sort of stuff. You know, you've got you guys that fucking put on stuff in like Inverness. It's like key people that hold certain places together, and I feel like if there should be a lot more support for that, certain people that are holding stuff together, but you will find that like they are on their own, if that makes sense. They will have their like group of pals that will help them out and like, you know, keep things like going, and like, you know, they might financially help them out with like helping pay a venue or help paying a band at the end of the night or something like that. But, you know, there is a lot of pressure on for certain people in certain like places that are holding it. But like, you know, down south, fair enough, there is like, again, key people that are doing a lot for the scene, but there's more key people doing more things, if that makes sense. You know, it's not just like one guy holding down the fort, it's a lot of other guys holding down the fort as well. So if that one person decides, look, I don't want to do this anymore, the whole scene doesn't fucking crash down. Do you know what I mean?
And it's good as well, because I always see, like, you know, when you've got specific genre, like if you've got only like 50 people that like hardcore up north, you're only ever going to get like a 50, you know, a full show of 50 people coming to like a hardcore show. Whereas like, you know, if you go down south or something, like there's probably like 500 people, you know, that are into that kind of music, but not all that 500 need to go to that show. You know, you only need like, you'd only need like 50 of them to come to the show for it to be decent. But
so like, no, you're totally right with what you're saying, because like, you know, if you think about it that way, say we're playing Aberdeen, there's like, you know, as you says, 50 people that are in the hardcore, you need 100% of them to come. But you know, if you're playing a bigger, like a place with a larger population, you're only needing 10% of that people to come down, which is way more likely than having to like message every individual person of that 50 to make sure that they're coming to the show. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, so we've definitely, you know, managed to show people how fucking hard and much of a struggle it is for us to do music up here. But like you say, you guys have managed to, you know, you've been going, what is it, 2-3 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
You know, we've been going for a couple of years now, so it does show that, you know, no matter how hard it is, if you want to do something, you know, if you want to make that kind of music, you can fucking do it, and you know, you can make a success of it, you know. And that's one of the things I see, like you say, what you're saying about Musket. I see him fucking speaking to people in like Korea and shit like that, and like,
well, look at Cold Hate, you got them over for a tour. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were fucking absolute gems. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know how he does it, but he's just, you know, he's.
Do you know what? It's honestly like the common sense of just messaging cunts. Like, that's it. Do you know what I mean? a lot of bands are scared to get rejected from messaging bands. Do you know what I mean? And like, didn't get me wrong, I did have like that attitude when I first like started, you know, like, oh, I'm not messaging them, fucking hell, they've got like 2,000 likes on Facebook, they're way bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? But like, you can't be like that. Like, at the end of the day, the worst thing they're going to say is no. They're not going to be like, fucking hell, you message me, who do you think you are, man? You're totally cancelled, man. It's just common sense at messaging folk, and you got to have that, like, I don't would say bars, but you do you know what I mean? You got to like just message folk and see if you can. And the thing is as well, like, as you're saying, like, Musket took Cold take over, you know, like, even though they got like a UK tour, they'll probably be fucking buzzing off that, but they'll be rapping fucking lashing out over where they came from, do you know what I mean? So it's like it's a win-win for everybody, do you know what I mean? And that's why, like, doing stuff with other bands is like probably like gonna help both people out the most, do you know what I mean? Because it preaches to both sides of their audiences, do you know what I mean? Whoever likes X band will like listen to X band if they're helping them, do you know what I mean? Like, that's why like collabs are good, you know, getting features, you know, like doing weekenders, you know. But at the same time, you can't be playing with the same band constantly. If you play with the same band, you know, like, you know, you're playing the same shows, do you know what I mean? Like like I'm saying, with like overplaying Aberdeen, it's easy to overplay other places, it's easy to overplay with certain bands, you know. It's all about like mixing, do you know what I mean? You need to be playing with other people constantly, and name that like playing with the same people's bad, you know, because like we've played with Lashing Out heaps, we played with Glass Monkeys heaps, but at the end of the day they're like our best pals, so like we're gonna like play more shows with them, but it's easy to overplay that shows, and I think you do need to have like a head on you and not like put on the same bands all the time, because it's gonna bring in the same sort of people, and you're, like, the idea is to like preach to more people, so you want to be playing with other bands that are going to take other people, and then they'll listen to your sort of stuff, do you know what I mean?
It's sometimes the whole less is more kind of mentality about maybe playing your local shows, you know, like picking and choosing those ones, and then but also trying to play as much as you can to different people, like you say. But it's the hard struggle to find that, and you know, it's it is a little bit easier when you can kind of have control over the other bands that are playing, and you can kind of put on your own shows as well. So I mean, you've had a little bit of experience in that, you know. I remember when we tried to get a show booked over in Aberdeen, and Finn was like, I'll just go to Will and get it sorted, because there was a whole big mess up with some promoter at some point, you know, not naming any names or anything like that, but when you were like nah, just give it to me, I'll fucking get it sorted and all that kind of stuff with Music Vision, and that fucking went perfect. You know, it was so much easier.
It was that fucking nice guy.
So I mean, do you like putting on the shows and all that kind of stuff, and having that kind of control over, almost like, I mean, I quite like being part of what Finn does in booking the bands, because you kind of have a hand in, you know, kind of building your scene. So I mean,
I think it's good to have the connections as well, because it is easier for putting, you know, you should be putting on your own shows anyway. Like, fair enough, it is easy to like jump on other people's shows, and it is something that I think we've gotten quite lazy with lately, I'm not gonna lie, but it is ace putting on your own shows, you know, but at the same time it's easier to jump on someone else's show, do you know what I mean? Like, because they've got all the responsibilities of, like, you know, organising the bands, and then if at the end of the day, if you didn't make money, it's them that's losing it, do you know what I mean? It's not yourself, but you shouldn't really have that mentality. It should be like, if putting on your own shows is good, because at the end of the day you're going to be playing with bands that you want to put on.
Exactly,
do you know what I mean? It's bands that you want to see play,
and you can kind of justify
exposure for yourself.
I always find that if I'm, you know, if I've kind of been like, yeah, we should have this band playing, or this is how the order of play should be, you feel a lot more comfortable being like, nah dude, you should come to this show, it's going to be fucking amazing, you know. Like, I remember I used to play in a pop punk band, and like, it wasn't necessarily the music that I liked, and we didn't sound bad or anything like that, but I didn't love that music. So whenever I was like telling my friends to come to see the show, I would almost feel guilty asking them to come see the show, because I'd be like, yeah, we're not good, but you know, you should come support us anyway, you know. Whereas like, if you've got that faith in something that you know it's going to succeed, and you think it's good, and you know it's good, and you put on all the bands, then you can be a lot more confident in being like, nah, dude, this is gonna be a fucking killer show. If you miss it, you're gonna be the one that's fucking missing out. Whereas like if you're stuck in that kind of way of just accepting other shows and all that kind of stuff, you could be like, yeah, come see us, and then you don't want to be that band that's also like, yeah, just come for us, and then fuck off for the other bands if you don't like them, because that is the last thing you want to be doing if you're a band.
The one thing that I do have respect, especially for like Inverness, is that you actually put on shows without your bands being on.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one thing that I feel like a lot of people trip up with, where they'll only put on shows where their band is. And if you're trying to build a scene, then you're not actually trying to build a scene, you're just trying to build a portfolio for your band in particular. I think there is a difference between promoting your own band and promoting a scene. So like I have seen like a lot of bills where you will put bands on and you might even put Below the Neck on or anything like that, and that is supporting the scene 100%, because that is just for the scene. And like Finn's definitely a fucking ace guy for doing that, do you know what I mean? Because it's like it's him that's setting up it, and he's honestly just doing it for the sake of doing it for the scene, do you know what I mean? And it is really nice seeing that sort of vibe, do you know what I mean?
Man, he's gonna love listening to this podcast, we've talked kind of like a bit of what you've done, what you've been doing recently, and all that kind of stuff. Have you got anything? So obviously we're in this whole lockdown kind of stuff. We know it's kind of hard to get practices and stuff together. Have you got anything lined up?
Yeah, we've got fucking tons lined up actually. We've used this time very well.
Anything you can talk to us about, or you want to keep it on the
PG? Well, we'll be releasing our the first single off of the EP soon. So have you ever heard of K-On! Before?
No, I haven't. No.
It's a fucking music anime. So it's gonna be an AMV music video.
Fuck yeah!
So yeah, it's looking pang. So Paradigm. I've not got a date for it yet. We're still like working it, and we're hopefully gonna get featured on it soon. We've already asked. We're just waiting for a response. That will be coming relatively soon. Just final steps on that, and then we've got more hoodies that will be coming out soon as well, which look fucking ace. Shout out to Glenn for like designing them. So we're just waiting to hear back for that. So yeah, we've got fucking tons. I've got heaps of other shit, but I'm not gonna bore you with all the stuff that we've got lined up. I'll just be exciting the way.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to come out. And so obviously the set that we recorded back in October, that will be coming out alongside this. So I think Paradigm's actually on that set as well.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I actually thought the song was called Party Time. Just by
no.
The way that
oh my god, I would definitely leave this band if we had a fucking song called Party Time.
But it was just the way like
Party Time with my boys.
See, when I was initially hearing you intro the song, and I was like, next song, Party Time, and I was like, Party Time or Paradise? What? But I was like,
devil, my stupid ass just fucking pronouncing shit wrong.
No, that was it'll never be as bad as the time when we ended up in Fraserburgh, and so you know Bleach, Isaac from Bleach, his dad owns the, what is it?
Yeah,
the Bala in Fraserburgh. So we were playing a show there, and we show up, we're like unpacking and all that kind of stuff, and his dad's like chatting away to us and all that kind of stuff, about you're just playing a lot of shows, all that kind of stuff. And if you've ever been to Fraserburgh, I mean, you've got, a bit of the accent yourself, Will, but...
Yeah, no, I get told that all the time. It's weird as fuck.
But as soon as you get
Liam can keep it
right into that fucking crest corner right up there, that's... I had to ask Finn, because he's from Nern. I had to ask Finn. His dad was talking to me about this stuff, and I was just like, I can't even tell you what he was trying to say to me, because it honestly sounded like gibberish.
You should try and listen to Liam sometimes. Sometimes he tries to put on like a broad fucking Fraser accent. It just sounds like a fucking pop, man. Honestly, it's like he's trying to impress his dad or something like that by putting it on.
But no, so if you do ever come up and play shows in Aberdeen or Inverness, you'll definitely have you'll have fun talking to us, or trying to talk to us anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I think so you've kind of got got that lined up for the future. Some merch coming out. So yeah, it'll be good. Good to kind of hit things running when this is all over, and hopefully.
Yeah, that's what we're just trying to do. We're trying to get like a little head start on anything that we can. Do you know what I mean? We've done pretty well. Just pretty much itching to get back to practicing. Yeah. I'm sure everyone is though.
Yeah. I mean, we've just been trying to have to practice on the Facebooks. You know, just send.
Oh,
well,
really?
not like live practices, but the way we've been doing it.
Oh no, I was gonna say that would be pretty pang if you were live
Man,
practicing.
if we could figure out how to do it, that would be badass. But nah, what we've been doing is Rory will write a song, he'll send it, then Connor will add like his guitar bit over the top, then I'll add my bit, and then we'll add in the Kunzel drums and all that kind of stuff, you know. and then Thomas is just like, yeah, I'll try and add some vocals to that. We haven't had any success yet, but hopefully we can get like at least one song made, you know, in quarantine. I don't know what it's been like for you Jacob, within this life. I don't know. Have you guys managed to get anything done productive?
Fucking nothing productive. Just before we did a tour in February, and we were like, that's probably going to be the last thing we do until we record an EP. But then we've been recording a single for about a year and a half, so see how it goes. Like, it's just one of those things where we've been working on it, and we just keep going back and doing little things, and we've ended up just like, we even came what the fuck we've got at this moment. We had a song at one point, so we just stripped it all back, and we just went back to the demo, and we ended up writing 2 or 3 songs about a couple of weeks ago. And then we have our 2 songs that we want to do, and then we'll have an EP, and then we're looking at adding a member, and then doing another EP after that. So busy boys at the moment, but hopefully have some music before the end of the year.
Yo, that's actually a fair point. Forgot about that. Shout out to CJ. He's just joined Bitterwood. I forgot to say that.
Oh
actually.
Shit!
I've never made a post on it. Yeah. I've got a new guitarist. Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a cool dude. He's a big meme lord.
I have seen many of his memes about, you know. He's always at the shows as well, isn't he? Like, he was at the.
Yeah, he's always fucking getting it loudy. Fucking, he's got a video like, lashing out we're playing, and he fucking like jumped and double kicked him in the fucking chest, and like the next day I swear to God I like woke up with a big footprint on my fucking chest. It was unreal.
Man.
And we were playing Inverness actually the next day, so like obviously like, take my shirt off when I'm fucking playing in Tooth and Claw, just fucking wasted. And then like I was just playing a while with a big footprint on my fucking chest. I was like, oh well. If anyone asks, I'll just say my bird beats me up or something.
That's
like that.
good. So we can expect a little bit more beef then the next time hearing you play. A little bit more chunk.
Should be, should be. Bit more memes, like
a lot more of the air horns then.
Pretty much,
So, did he play in a band before this, or has he played in bands, or is?
Yeah, he's in Street Pasta. That's another Aberdeen band.
I thought that was just a fucking piss take. I didn't know that was an actual.
Nah, I swear down, it's a real band. It's actually a real band.
That's fucking brilliant, man.
I know, like. Yeah. So yeah, he's I don't know, like when our next show is, he'll be fucking playing it anyway.
Be good. I always have fun whenever I come see you guys play, whenever I've seen your kind of group, because it is when we were at Music Vision with the Negative Measures tour and all that kind of stuff. You brought so many folk. I mean, it was great. It was fucking awesome, and I always meet new people at the Aberdeen scene, and it's always good crack. So I mean, if more people are getting into bands, it's one of the things I always keep telling people that come to hardcore shows in Inverness. I'm like, if you fucking like this shit, it's not fucking hard. I mean, like,
you're right. You're totally right, because the more people that are doing it at the end of the day, it's like healthier.
Unless you're a drummer, hardcore music is piss easy. You know, I'm a bassist.
Yeah.
It's the fucking.
Need for Glenn shit as fuck, man. He's still in Bitterwood, like.
Oh, but
he's only in it because he can draw pretty well.
You don't even need to sing, man. Like, you can have fucking dog shit vocals and still do, like, you can still do great.
That's why I'm in the band, man.
But yeah, the hardcore is just it's the genre of music for all the people that can't play actual music.
Pretty much, like.
No, I fucking love hardcore, man. But I think that was Is there anything you want to talk about at the end there, Jacob? I think we've kind of.
I've always had one question. I saw you playing Forest a while ago, and you had a Game Boy on stage, yeah. And just for the love of God, I always wondered why the fuck you had a Game Boy on stage. I saw it get booted across the fucking venue, and you run for it like.
Yeah. Oh man, and I break so much shit when I play. No, we use a Game Boy for samples. So it's an MP3 player cartridge, and then it's got a Bluetooth receiver, and then the transmitter plugs into the PA. So we play our samples through our Game Boy. It's very obscure. Doesn't work very well. You'd be better with a sample.
What game
pad,
is it that you're
style points at the end of the day?
What game that does the samples?
Oh, it's an MP3 cartridge. Like
really?
It's an actual cartridge, so I can download. Yeah, so I can make our own samples. Like I'll make it on Reaper, and then I'll download it onto the MP3, and then we can play whatever.
That's fucking brilliant.
So like, all the time that you've heard us play samples, it's always been through the Game Boy.
I thought you'd just like fucking put in like, I don't know, like Punch Night or some fucking like Harry Potter game.
Yeah,
that just had a weird
no, it's an MP3 like that. It's fucking sick.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea, and it does work, but the only thing is it's hard for timing purposes, as in I need to press A and B quite a lot, and when you're like constantly trying to like move, I suppose it's like hard to like pick the Game Boy up discreetly and change the sample. Do you know what I mean? And as you says, I've unplugged the Game Boy, I've kicked the Game Boy, I've battered the Game Boy so much times by accident that like it probably would be a lot better if Glenn had a sample.
Well, I remember that
we like the Game Boy
show in Forest with the Game Boy, and I just remember there was two people that I'll remember from the crowd. There was one guy that was like a kind of older guy that was standing right at the front of the show, proper giving it like old fashioned, just headbanging. Doesn't really know how to crowd kill or anything like that. And there was like people that we know crowd killing respectably in the area, the designated crowd kill area, and then there was this guy who'd got wasted. He was playing earlier in the show, or he was friends with that guy who'd done the rapping set earlier. There was like a rapper or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he just started running loops round the fucking
That's right, yeah.
the crowd area, and then just absolutely. I think he trips over your Game Boy and fucking eats shit. He trips over something into the fucking one of the front monitors and eats so much shit. Oh.
Fuck, I can't mind that, man.
What?
Oh well, he's getting called out for fucking the Game Boy.
What I'll do is I'll layer over the video. I'll layer over the video while we're talking about it, and you can kind of see that. It's on my Instagram. But yeah, that was fucking hilarious. But I think that was a fucking hilarious show, man. Can't wait for Forest Fest '89. That's gonna be banging.
Oh, honestly,
I didn't even think that was a Forest Fest. I think it was like a weird like subset off a sub off a Forest Fest.
It was like this is not Forest Fest, but 49.
And it had I can't remember his name, but he makes fucking memes all the time on it. Just like the poster was like Little Toe or something. I can't remember if that's his name or name, but the poster was fucking hilarious. It was just a weird show.
It was Muscat made that, yeah. It was Muscat made that.
Classic. But
fucking so funny.
Yeah, so so thank you, Will, from Bitterwood, for coming on to the podcast and having a wee chat with us. Looking forward to hearing this stuff that you've been working on over the quarantine, and hopefully we'll get you on a show through in Inverness pretty soon, as soon as the whole thing's fucking over with. Man. But
dying to play, man.
Anyone you'd like to see on this podcast chatting with us? That big curly-headed fuck.
Yeah, get you in for fucking Glass Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, he's on in like 10 minutes actually.
We've actually got actually coming on next week. But
shut up, no way. Gonna change my mind about what I'm no way.
But we'll definitely be getting more of the Aberdeen crew on here as well. So thanks for coming along. If anyone wants anyone on the podcast, feel free to comment in or message us and let us know. But from us here at DeathHammer Podcast, peace out, my dudes.
Peace.